Eloise is a 2016 film directed by Robert Legato, written by Christopher Borrelli. And we have a cast including Eliza Dushku, Robert Patrick, Chace Crawford, Brandon T. Jackson, Nicole Forster, and various others. This is actually apparently based on the real Eloise insane asylum, which I know nothing about, so I'm judging this purely on the film itself rather than the actual location. But it is shot there. I don't know anything about the true history, but it looks brilliant. It's a really great setting for this film, and in general it is a decent experience. It was very, very, very slow to begin with, but I'd say after about half an hour it finally starts to pick up, and the rest of the film is about being in this insane asylum, which is it's in Michigan, and exploring the space. And the reason the characters are there is because they're trying to find this death certificate. They need this death certificate to prove that they're the sole surviving heir of this inheritance. And various characters go in to explore this, to find this, and dark things begin to happen. And I will say, from once they entered space, which took quite a while, but once they entered, it was really great. I do wish the lights were brighter. The lighting is very good, but I would have liked to have seen the space with brighter lighting to get a better feel of what it was like. But it does feel realistic that if it's an abandoned insane asylum, there aren't going to be working lights. So it's realistic. And visually it does look good, but I would have liked to have seen it when it was fully lit up, because for me that's scary. Seeing an abandoned building, there are so many images and videos of abandoned buildings online where you can see everything really clearly. That is scary. I find that to be so scary, but I understand why the lighting is the way it is, and it's not bad. And then they start to see images and photographs, and then things get more and more suspenseful and darker, and we get little kind of examples of what life was like in the insane asylum, and it's just a really creepy experience, and I really thoroughly enjoyed it. I wasn't too bothered about the whole finding the death certificate thing, but I do think it is a good reason for them to go in, rather than just saying, for example, a group of people are exploring an abandoned building to see if there are any spirits present. That's a very easy way of giving them a reason to go in this kind of building. I think this one had a better backstory. I think the narrative had a little bit more substance to it, and I think that was a really good idea. The characters are well written. I wasn't really rooting for anybody in particular. I wasn't necessarily emotionally connecting with any of the characters, but by no means did I dislike anybody. The performances were very good. So all things considered, it's not a bad film. Yes, it was definitely slow to begin with, but once it got going, once we got inside the building, it was really great. And yes, as I said, personally, I would have liked the lighting to be very brightly lit so we could actually see the decay and the crumbling building and signs of what once was. But I do fully understand that there wouldn't have been lights there because it's an abandoned building that probably isn't an effective power supply. So that's not a criticism. Just in terms of personal preference, I would have found it scarier if we could actually see more. I don't know if that's a common experience or not, but nevertheless, it still looked great visually. The characters were great. Again, wasn't really bothered about any of them, but they were still very likable, well written, and the atmosphere is certainly pretty fabulous. So I'd say it's worth watching. I think Eloise is a good story. They make great use of the space. Visually, it still looks good. And I'd say it's quite creepy. So I'm rather happy with the experience. And if it sounds like a kind of film that would appeal to you, then needless to say, I'd say it's one that's worth checking out.